Item number 3 is discussion of construction of permanent restroom facilities at Navarre Park. Mr. Walker.
Mr. Chairman, in your packet is the information from me regarding the Navarre Park, and it's one of the most highly used parks in the county, if not certainly the most highly used passive park, for lack of a better word, where there's no programming. And really, we've used, I think it's 6 portable facilities there for the last number of years. When we constructed the Vista Information Center, maybe in the 2004-2005 time frame, we just demolished some old restrooms that had been there for a number of years. We had placed some restrooms on the outside, if you will, of the Vista Information Center. There's just such an amount of abuse, we had to close that off. So we really just need restroom facilities at the Vista Information Center. I've got a meeting, as I noted, set up with Hernandez Calhoun, who was the group who was the architects that actually designed and oversaw the construction for the Vista Information Center. I'd just like to get a proposal from them on what it would take to construct facilities there. It's really our front door, if you will, to Navarre Beach, to the entire community. And so it needs to match the Vista Information Center. I don't know if you would put it at the same elevation. There are just a number of issues. Do you put it at the same elevation? Do you try to just place it, it needs to be durable, and public restroom facilities are used and abused as you can only imagine. So it needs to really be serviceable, and we need to talk about the placement of it. I believe the only room available is the placement to the west of the current Vista Information Center, but we'd like to sit there and talk to the architect about that. So if I could, I hope to bring back a proposal on Thursday from Hernandez Calhoun to move forward with that particular process. I'm sure people here have marked to you how much it's used, yes, but it's used a great deal.
My name is Ira Mae Bruce. I'm 7189 Wells Avenue in Holly, Florida. Commissioner Melvin, the reason that I brought this forward, I know you've been working on this, but since you're going to be a commissioner in another district, wherever it may be, we hope that we could at least get the money set aside from the district funds for District 4's funds so that we could go forward. And we've been doing some studies on the restrooms. Now what they do is close them at 6 o'clock, the ones that, or 5 o'clock when the TDC leaves the building, they're closed. But we have children and families that are playing in the park until dark. Some of the suggestions, some of the things I've found on the internet was that some of the people that need things closed at a certain time, they use a security service that can automatically lock the doors from wherever they are. And whatever we do, I don't know that we've had a lot of problems with the restrooms that are right there in front of the visitor center, but I do know many years ago we had lots of problems with activities that children or adults didn't need to be involved in. So that's what we're hoping today is we can get, while you're still our District 4 Commissioner, we can get the money aside.
That's what we're teeing up right now to make happen. We had a group of volunteers, Vicki Shelton and her sister Lori and some other people were volunteering, and then we've got another group volunteering. This is something that's been needed for 10 years or more, and we'll make it happen. We'll set the money aside and get it teed up. What we don't need, we need one set of plans, so it needs to be the county-driven plan. And just for those that may not have heard, we're imposing on the local businesses terribly. Nobody. A portalet is an emergency option only. I mean, it's an absolute last resort. And what's happening is that the public is imposing on the smokehouse and TC's front porch and anywhere else they can to use a restroom. And it's grossly unfair, to the point that Mr. Dabney, James Dabney, that owns the smokehouse, approached me and said that he thought he could put together a volunteer effort whereby the contractors volunteered their time and the county bought the materials and stuff. So if that materializes, we can still use that offer on the plans that the county will prepare. Right. But if not, we're going to go ahead and build it.
Okay.
We're going to put the bathroom facilities in Navarre that are needed. There's some discussion from the TDC. Matter of fact, they passed a resolution to bring something to us, I guess, at the next set of meetings, to close off the access, the overhead access. You remember when you were sitting in this chair, probably, that how terribly the Visitor Information Center was vandalized by people going in the men's restroom through the tiles over, there's not a fire break wall there, and then gained access to the interior of the building and vandalized the whole thing, apparently. So they were going to, they passed a resolution that will make its way up here to us to seal that off, to firewall that off, and to perhaps look at some alarming for the main tourist development center. But those are ancillary items. We're absolutely going to make this happen. The county will prepare the plans, and we'll fund it from District 4, either through paying for the materials if Mr. Dabney is able to successfully secure the volunteer construction, like the kids' house was built that way. Yeah. The kids' house was built that way. So perhaps we can make that work, but if we can't, we're going to build them anyway.
Well, good. I'm particularly concerned also about the being able to automatically lock the restrooms.
Yes, I understand.
And that's and unlock them, because I was not involved when they actually built the building. Okay. But I was involved when we put the restrooms out front, so right. that the public could use them, and now we're cutting the public off from the use of the restrooms. And I just heard last week of the problem with somebody climbing over. Yeah, so, and I was also told that had been fixed. Maybe they just told you, and you knew you were going to fix it. So I don't know, but it'd be quite a job to climb up. Those ceilings are like 12, 14 feet high.
I know. Well, they got it done.
Somebody had to work hard.
They got it done somehow. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but I appreciate that. I know everybody would like to have it done, and we knew you were leaving our district, so we would like to have the money set aside so we don't have to explain it to somebody else.
I don't think there's any opposition from any of the 6 or 7 candidates in that race, to this particular project. And the business community deserves a relief, frankly, because we're imposing on them. Yeah. And
thank you.
For those of you that don't know, Thursday night in the summertime in Navarre at the park, easy to say 200 or 300 people is no exaggeration.
We had 900 the 4th of July weekend.
I mean, we're not talking about small crowds. We're talking about very large crowds.
And I don't know how they do it in Pace. I know they built some nice restrooms there. I don't know what they do. They may not have the same type park we have. Ours is more family.
I don't think we have the same crowd. I don't know about
You're talking about the city of Milton when they do the concerts?
No. We're talking about Navarre
the Pace Park.
I know. Sorry, man, we really don't have we don't have another park that rivals the Navarre. No,
there's nothing like the Navarre's park. Okay. Well, it's nice being special.
Well, it's a gorgeous park, and it's right there. I mean, it's really the by far the most used passive park. And the Pace facilities are programmed. The one difference would be the Benny Russell, which is a playground area. It still does not get the extensive amount of use kind of after hours, and usually those people are a little more supervised. They're really more toddlers. I say toddlers, younger kids. That we have the facilities there, and we have a deputy there that's on site with a caretaker.
And that's what we don't have. That's the other suggestion that's been made. I think we have a deputy that lives on Navarre Beach. He might possibly be. I don't know if he works his regular routes or not, but maybe that would be an option to try
Right,
to.
take a look at that. The one that you're referring to that lives there, I think that's a rent-free situation that benefits both us and that.
Right,
particular
well, I
family.
understand
Yeah.
that. I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
I just thought that if he's, I don't know if he has his actual rotation with the sheriff's department too.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't, maybe he would have the opportunity to do that,
Yeah.
to help with that, so.
Yeah, I'll ask Sheriff Hall about that.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Yes, ma'am. Yes, please.
Morning. I'm Sandra Horton. I live at 1852 Falling Leaves Court, Navarre. I'm not here speaking for myself today as much as I am. We have a new action group, a fact-based action group in Navarre called Navarre Area Voices for Progress. And I am the representative from them. We have around 154 members now. We are new, and we keep the hope to grow. We're trying to work with UPA, we're working with other Navarre organizations, other county organizations. So we're trying to get a voice and working with the county, trying to better Navarre. One of the issues, obviously, is the porta potties. We've tried a couple times to work with you all and some of the representatives. We've talked, and you've been kind enough to explain the process, which is a painful process sometimes. And what we need to do, what you all need. My concern as the group, I hate to see where some things we want are out of reach. I guess we got turned down recently for some grant stuff because maybe we asked for too much. I want to make sure we work with you all and what you need from us as a group or other groups to, okay, if this one is out of budget or out of realistic goal, what is our next step? Or what are steps that we can do to make sure, our concern is this doesn't get shelved, okay? I know you all say it's a goal. We would love to go back to our group. We'd love to go back and tell people in Navarre, there's a goal set maybe by next summer or next spring that the county is going to go out for bids. The county is going to get this done for us. Or if they can't afford to get it done, what local project, where does the local community need to come in and find labor, find materials? And I appreciate what you're saying, that you all have it on the scope, but is there something more concrete we can bank on?
This tees that off. This authorizes the administrator to begin to work with the architect to put those things together to get us a final cost. And I've made the commitment that we'll build it. Now, Mr. Dabney is successful in finding contractors to do for us the way the kids' house was done. Mr. Ed Carson, his personal friend of mine, built $1.5 million thing. They paid his payroll and bought the materials, and zip, that was all he did. And he did the permitting and the contracts, the whole 9 yards. We find somebody civic minded like that would help us with the park. We'll do it that way, but otherwise we'll do it the other way. But we'll get it done.
Okay. Do you think it'd be safe to say by maybe next spring or next summer or?
I would hope so, but I don't want to get pinned down to that. Mr. Walker, do you have a better feel for that?
Again, I think that once we receive a proposal from the architectural firm on, hopefully by Thursday, is then you can probably, figure, if you figured, 3 or 4 months for design, month or two for bidding and awarding, and then I would think this would be fairly simple construction. Another 6 months on, probably 4 months, just off the top of my head. So, I mean, again, this certainly should be, obviously we'd like to try to get it done before we open the splash pad back next week, because that seems to be the generator for a lot of the concern. And I believe that goes from maybe more or less Memorial Day to Labor Day. So I would assume our goal would be to try to get that before before the Butterfly House starts operating. That's usually about the 1st of May, and then the splash pad. So that would obviously be the goal, simply because those seem to be the ones that the events that bring the most daily number of people there. I'm not talking about the Thursday night series or
No,
some
but
of
the
other
locals,
stuff.
a lot of us locals, and great, because one of the biggest complaints is the porta potties with the kids, and like you said, the butterfly house and all that. That'd be great if we can go out and say, hey, the county said they can get this done. The goal will be, you know, if it's done earlier. No one complains when something's done earlier. They only complain when it's done later. So yeah, I understand it. Government
The
contracting.
volunteers that work with the children at the splash pad, they bus them in from the other counties, which is fine. It's a public park. They're free to do that. But the children are brought into the restrooms are open during the operational period that the splash pads utilize.
Right.
But it won't handle the adult crowd. It just
Right,
absolutely
exactly.
will not handle the adult
Exactly.
crowd. We're handling the toddlers and the preschoolers in a very safe manner. They have a male and a female with them, and they're supervised and all that, but,
And I guess that's just what my other two-part concern was, is making sure that we don't price ourselves, you know, your drawings and everything. Of course, we want the best we can get, but is best practical. And I know we are all tight on funds, and everybody wants to be frugal about it, but we still want something safe and something that looks nice. And that's where you know, I don't know if there was more options of drawings proposed. I mean, I went to Clearwater Beach several months ago, and they had, was great, would fit right in with our design. And I know it wasn't cinder block, but it was certainly a nice looking facility that would probably cost half the cost. And that's where I just want to make sure that we look at all the angles, but yet not stop on this.
You know, and that would be the function of the architect. I mean, obviously, they're going, the board, the process is we would get the proposal from them and then start working with the board and also with the stakeholders on which I would think would primarily be the chamber and the TDC to work through what the design would look like, you know, what kind of quality you want, because it really needs to be very durable. I mean, public restrooms are.
Well, and I agree with
We're
you.
going to have to understand, another thing to be concerned about, of course, is going to be security. Again, because we have a number of children there. I mean, there's just a number of things that we need to look at. I mean,
we'll work through those problems.
We can't figure them all
Yeah,
out.
we'll get it built, and we'll solve the security problems. I mean, there's a host of details to plow through, and we'll get it done.
Okay, and exactly, and thank you, but like I said, I don't want to Taj Mahal ourselves out to where we still, you know, the porta potties for the past 3-4 years, you know, we've had that versus nothing, so, but thank you, and
Yes.
hopefully we'll count on next spring.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ms. Cantu? I'm sorry, yes, sir, Commissioner Salter.
I just want to make a comment. 2 weeks ago, my wife and I had my little 2-year-old grandson down at Navarre Park, and he truly enjoyed the splash pads, but what was very obvious was no public restroom. So I totally support Commissioner Melvin spending his rec funds to build that restroom.
Ms. Cantu?
Sandra Cantu, Highway 9577, Highway 90 East in Milton. My suggestion would be that the people who are closest to the need make a list of the minimum things that they need or would like to see in it. My suggestion would be solar heating for water for showers. I remember going to the beach and they had showers that you could wash the sand out. You know, something like that would be nice to have, and maybe make a note of things need to have, nice to have. Hey, it would be great to have, something like that, but work with the people that are closest to the need so you can get input from them. It sounds like a great idea. I hate using portable toilets too. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, I recommend we move the discussion of construction of permanent restroom facilities at Navarre Park to Thursday without objection. Hearing none, it passes. Item number 4.